Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Dennis and I read The Picture of Dorian Gray so you don't have to. This book was recommended to me by Emma. Emma wanted me to read this book. That's her blowing up my computer right now. It was a really quick story. It was a really quick story to get through. Didn't really take me more than a day to read. There are three main characters in this book. You have Dorian Gray. He's hot, he's young, and he's friends with a painter named Basil, who is in love with Dorian. Basil spends a lot of his time painting Dorian, and when he's not painting Dorian, he's painting things, but the essence and the thought of Dorian is influencing his painting, because Dorian is just so beautiful, the most beautiful ever, that Basil is just obsessed with his beauty and the image that creates. And then the third character is Lord Henry. He is friends with Basil and ends up being a huge influence on Dorian's life, and basically introduces the concept of lust and the concept of pleasure. Puts into this idea in Dorian's head that he can get whatever he wants because he is so hot. So there's this one day that Dorian is being painted by Basil, and the finished product is so beautiful. Best painting that Basil's ever done. Best image of Dorian that could ever be created. And Dorian wishes that instead of him aging, that his physical self remains beautiful and young while his painting ages. And he says that he would sell his soul to be able to do this. And then some divine spirit is like, oh yeah, bet, and makes it true that Dorian doesn't age, but this painting ages instead. Dorian doesn't know that this wish has been granted until he falls in love with an actress named Sybil. He is so in love with her, she falls in love with him as well. And when she falls in love with him, she's like, well, now I know what love is, da-da-da-da-da. And then she just sucks at performing now, because she's found what her true love is, and it's Dorian. But now that she sucks, there's this one night that Dorian brings Basil and Lord Henry to see, oh, this is my girl, she's such a great actress, come check her out. And then she flops on stage, he gets pissed, he goes into her dressing room and basically is like, what was that? And she was like, ugh, I love you so much that I just don't find it necessary to act anymore. And then Dorian is like, well, that's why I loved you, so now I'm dumping you. It was very dramatic. Dorian goes home, and after this whole event, he finds that his painting has aged in just the slightest bit. And Dorian realizes that his wish came true. The painting is going to age instead of Dorian. But the way that the painting ages is whenever Dorian commits a moral sin of any kind, the painting will age to show this sin. So because the painting is a physical manifestation of morality and sin, Dorian is like, okay, I'm going to live a life without sin, and I'm going to be so good because this painting is basically a testament to how moral I am. And then later that day, he finds out about Sybil dying, and Lord Harry also sends him a book that is also extremely lustful, pleasureful. You get these ideas seeded into his head. He immediately flips the script and spends the next 18 years just being extremely prideful, extremely lustful, doing a lot of sinful behavior over his adulthood. And yet he remains perfect looking. He's so young. you would never be able to know that he was 30 instead of 17. Lord Henry basically puts into the idea, you are so hot, you can do whatever you want. Life has everything in store for Dorian because he is hot. And Dorian is like, so true. It's kind of like this whole Freudian concept of the superego, or like the angel on your shoulders, and then id, which is the devil on your shoulders. So like Basil kind of acts like the angel, because Basil really likes good character and having good morals, and then Lord Henry is basically the devil on the shoulder and likes to be prideful and pleasureful and likes to live his life the way that he deems it necessary. So you have these two sides of the coin, both trying to influence Dorian, and in the end, Lord Henry takes over Dorian's influence. So for 18 years, he lives this very sinful life, and this painting evolves with this character of Dorian. And he hasn't physically aged a day. Dermatologists hate him. He looks 18, but he is 35. Find out his secret today. So when the book fast forwards 18 years and we read all about all the shitty things that he's done, Basil comes to him one day and is like, I hear about all these rumors. Well, first he's like, I'm in love with you, or I was in love with you and in love with the physical beauty of you. So he confesses that. And then he's like, I hear all these rumors about you, that you are such a nasty person, that you're a sinful person. But, you know, like, sin is a thing that writes itself across a man's face. It cannot be concealed. So Basil doesn't believe that Dorian could commit such sin because Dorian is still beautiful. And if he was so sinful, it would be revealed in his physical character. But it's being revealed in the painting's character and not Dorian's physical character, but Basil doesn't know this. So Dorian is like, here's the painting, here's the diary of my sin, and then kills Basil. What? I just don't understand. How do we get from point A of, I'm never going to sin ever again, to point B, I'm killing Basil like this? Where did we go wrong? Dorian is able to hide the fact that he committed this crime, but then he feels super guilty for the life that he lives, and is like, I'm going to destroy this painting because it is keeping me sinful and not as honest. So he stabs the painting, and in doing so, it like stabs himself, and he kills himself. And you only know that it is Dorian because even though his body is aged, there are rings on his finger, and that's the only thing that's like able to identify the body. But when the people come in and find the body, the painting is young Dorian. So it like does a Freaky Friday and swaps it when he kills himself. I definitely enjoyed the book. It was a 3 out of 5 for me. I really liked the drama, and I really liked the themes that the author was playing around with, the idea of sin, morality, and it being portrayed through a object rather than just actions. You don't really get the description of the actions that Dorian has really done really through his life. We get like a flash forward instead, and the only way we know that he is sinful is because of the painting. What I didn't necessarily really like about the book was the pacing. The pacing was just really awkward. Like, we're good for the first chunk, and then the flash forward is what kind of gets me. I understand why it was done, but like, I feel like it was just paced very weird, where Dorian 1 second is like, I'm going to be sinless, and then the next second was just like, just kidding. So I didn't really understand how we got so quickly from point A to point B, and I also don't understand why he just murders Basil right then and there. But I guess sinners are gonna sin. I would recommend this book. I feel like it is one of those classics, and I've been growing to love more and more classics recently, and this one is one that I would recommend if you haven't read it already. If you've read this book before or have any thoughts on the book, please let me know down in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like and maybe even I don't know, subscribe to my channel, because that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty nice, and I would really appreciate it. Okay, bye.